Hello, good evening and welcome to your most authoritative sports analysis show here on ETV Ghana. We call it eSports Live and my name is Ohene Bampo. We are coming up in the next 60 minutes. We do something very interesting, of course. Happy FM and their partners are embarking on something very interesting. It's called Transparency and Accountability in Sports. What they've done in the last couple of months is to look at the commissions of inquiries in time past and find out whether indeed Ghanaians, government, stakeholders are following up to the recommendations in that particular white paper and report. Today will be no exception. We will try and look at the Jamapé Commission of Inquiry report into Brazil 2014 and ask some very interesting questions. Whether indeed we as stakeholders, including government, the Black Stars Management Committee, the FA, and everybody inclusive, is following the recommendations of the white paper. And interestingly, and for us, we are very privileged because we have one person who contributed immensely to that report in terms of the technical aspect of the report. Is here with us in the studios, and he will bring some light into what indeed they propose and whether indeed government and the FA are following through with the recommendations in the white paper. My immediate right is the usual suspect, Professor Jesse Amponsan, who is here with us again. I was here last week and is still here with us to bring perspective to the issue. Also, Coach Christopher Nimley, very well suited this evening. I don't know where he's going to, but I mean, he's properly, he's dressed up.
He's gone the American way.
Yeah, he's gone the American way. He's forgotten that today is Friday. Anyways,
no worries.
Guys,
you guys are welcome to the show.
Yeah, you guys are welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure.
Let me ask this very funny question. When was the last time you went to the Jamaica Commission of Inquiry reports and the white paper?
I think personally that was about roughly a month ago, because I had to deal with the technical aspect of the report on another platform. So I would say about a month ago I actually looked through only the technical section of the report. But of course there are still some very prudent or important recommendations that I still do remember within the report. So maybe as we go along, surely we'll have a take on some of them.
You contributed in terms of your knowledge, preparing documents for the commission at the time. And of course your name is captured in this report, Coach Christopher Nimley. Do you think that all the work you put in, and we will try to go in there and find out some of the issues you brought up. And don't forget also that the white paper put up by government is in three folds. There are recommendations they modified, recommendations they accepted, and recommendations they rejected.
Exactly.
So the real deal is in the white paper, not the reports. Because there are some recommendations they did not accept.
At all.
There are some they modified, and there are some they are accepted wholly as it appeared in the report itself. But do you think that all the hours you put in try to redefine our football in terms of the technical direction of it, we are following through to it, we are implementing every detail of it based on the recommendation or the modification acceptance from the government?
Brenya, I must state emphatically that I'm very happy that after all the work we did, when the white paper came out, like you rightly said, it came in three folds. The white paper accepted every single technical recommendation or report that the technical team headed by the late Uncle Ben Kofi.
Okay, so let me bring perspective to the issues. They are, side falls under developing a technical, and tactical framework for a unique brand of football for all national teams.
Exactly.
And the technical consultancy team made up of Miss as the French would say, Ben Kofi, Otia Kenten, Sam Ade, Masao Didi Dramani, and Christopher Nimley are of the view that the branding of our game must be based on our cultural background. Our game must emulate from possession in defense and possession to attack. Tactics must be flexible in application, emulating from the principle of defensive and attacking play, adhering to principles which is the hallmark of modern football: system, formation, play, tactics, etc. So these are the things they, put out as the basis of, or the framework for our national team.
Surely, what we were looking at the time, we were looking at the Ghanaian, we were looking at our genetic makeup in terms of what we believe in when it comes to our culture. We're also looking at the physique of the Ghanaian player. And we thought that if you look at the way we've been framed by God, we had to play the game, or we have to play the game in a certain way in order for us not to be seriously disadvantaged. So what we said was that whatever we do as a footballing country, the foundation of our identity should be based on possessive football. Whether we are defending or we are in an attack, it should be based on possessive football. And as a result of that, we will ensure that we will not be so very rigid when it comes to our tactics. We'll look at what our players are capable of doing and be a bit flexible in order to bring the very best of every single player that goes through the rank. And if you go through the report, one thing that we did point out was the fact that this will have to start at the grassroots level.
Yeah. So it has grassroots development.
Yes,
as part
basic
of the framework.
In fact, they costed it.
We costed it. If you go through the report, it came with what? Costing. And we looked at basically the 4 main domains: the player, the referee, the coaches, and then administration as a whole. We realized that at the time, if you want to actually give Ghana a holistic identity which reflects what the Ghanaian is all about, we needed to inculcate the 4 domains of what football is all about. And for me, I remember very well, there was the time that we went for the meeting where the late Uncle Ben Kofi said that, look, there's absolutely nothing wrong in mimicking or copying what others have done. If you look at the Ghanaian, which country out there or countries out there can we boldly say that in terms of physique, our players look exactly like them? So we realize that if you go to Spain, our players in terms of stature looks just like the Spanish players. If you go to Germany, not every German player is that bulky. If you go to France, again, so I was given the task to actually look at the Spanish way, the French way, and the German way, and look at these 3 development or these
models.
3 models and then come out with a framework for ours. And the technical team headed by the late Uncle Ben Kofi, coach, the late Sam Ade, Masawu Didi Dramani, and Otia Kenti, who are all very experienced than I am, will look at what I would have presented at the time and try to bring out something that will adapt for Mother Ghana. So look, it was a very, very tedious work to be done. I remember there was a day where we closed at 12 midnight because we had just 3 days to submit the report. And you know, I don't have a car. And the late Uncle Ben Kofi drove me from the FA premises all the way to Fulani, Dodowa, Ashiye. And that was the day I realized that, look, if and only if Ghana will adapt this framework, surely we will go far. If you look at the report, if you're not a technical man, if you read that report, you actually be lost. But what we did was that we told the commission that we have summarized what needed to be done in the report. And as when this country decides to implement the report, by then, surely I was the youngest among the team or within the group. Surely, with the likes of Otia Kintin still around, Masawu Didi Dramani still around, we could take the tactical and technical aspect, which involves dealing with the coaches, and then take them through what they needed to do. So catch the boy as young as 8 years, get him through solid 10-year development plan, and by the time he's done with that developmental stages, surely he will show up what the true Ghanaian is about. So that when our team go out there to play, we don't need to be told that this is the Black Stars of Ghana, or this is the Black Starlets, or Black Satellite, or Black Meteors, or the Black Queens, or Black Princesses. We inculcate, we actually made it holistic. That will include women's football as well. So for me, I state emphatically that after all the good works we did, adding cost to every single thing that we recommended, this country have decided to put whatever is in this report and for the report to be dealt with by dust. I remember very well that the members of the ex-FA would just not listen to some of us simply because in principle they said they were against the commission, and because they were against the commission,
Everything in the
whether
report was bad.
the commission saw the need to bring on board the technical directorate, which at the time was headed by Oti Akinti and Uncle Ben Kofi, whether the technical directorate of the FA decided to work for the commission or not, because in principle, as an institution, they were against the commission, they will not adapt or use anything, whether good or bad, in the commission. They will not implement any. So as we sit here today, nothing concerning the technical report, no aspect of it whatsoever has been implemented by this country. And it's sad, it's pathetic, it hurts, because believe you me,
They didn't charge
the
commission
members of the
anything.
commission were paid. They were given certain allowance. But if you employed an 80 plus man, a 60 plus man, and then at their ages, and they were ready and willing, and they sacrificed without a dime. Nobody took one city for doing this thing. At the end of the day, all we could, personally, it hurts that my name is even in the book. Because why would I glory, or why would I be so happy to have my name in something that is lying somewhere and is being beaten by dust? I want to see it implemented. I want the thing to take for, so that I'll be called. What did you people mean? Or what was the brain in saying
Behind
A,
this,
B, C, D? Because I have a holistic PowerPoint presentation on when we talk about our culture, when we talk about tactics being flexible. I have a holistic PowerPoint presentation that was adapted by the late Uncle Ben Kofi and every member of the group, that as at when we were called, or as at when it became necessary to bring about the implementation, we will now take every technical brain in this country under the direction of the technical directorate of the FA as to how we want our team to play, starting from the boy being at age 8. But as we speak, nothing of the sort has been done. And it hurts. It hurts, to be honest. It hurts.
Prof, I mean, this is quite comprehensive. I mean, I'm looking at the costing bit of it, where everything from coaching to pitches to refereeing,
everything was costed.
you know, for me, look, this is a lot of hours,
So
a lot of brains going through this, but
So now, Brenya, you understand why for the past 1 month, anytime I come on this show, I talk about the fact that I'm not interested in reforms and formulation of reforms. I'm interested in whether we will be able to implement.
yeah.
Now you understand. So Coach has given a brilliant thing about FA being against the commission. Therefore, everything in their report is bad.
Yeah.
Now, can you imagine that the normalization committee comes on, right? They do their reforms. And then some members of the current executive committee go and stand for election and they vote for them. Well, what do you think they will do to the reforms that they will give out? Obviously, there will be no commitment to implement it. So, see, we don't just come and sit here and shout. We are not against government. We are not against anybody. We come and sit here for the good of the game. If the game grows, I will also grow. You understand? If the game grows and money comes into the game, more companies will come and sponsor this program. What it means is that more money will go into my pocket. That's what it means. Alan Shearer sits on BBC, and at the end of the year, he takes close to £900,000 to £1 million, right?
Only takes 4.5 million.
You understand? I mean,
Sky.
because there's money in the game. People come and sponsor. Companies are willing to push their money. So we don't come and sit here and shout. Some of my mates are doing very, very well. You understand? We come and sit here and we talk. The point is that we don't come and talk for talking's sake. You see, and for me, it's sad that as we speak now, look, the commission, the technical team went ahead to talk about a flexible 4-3-3 system or a 4-2-3-1 system.
Yeah.
Well, they list close to 5 formations.
Yes.
So they talked about the 4-3-3,
Yes.
4-2-3-1, 4-4-2,
yes,
and 4-1-4-1.
4-1-4-1.
For national
yes.
teams. Yeah.
So for the national teams, clearly.
And this should run from under 6, under 8, under
all
10, under 12, and
the-
all of them
all
is
the way to
posted.
the
Yeah, I mean, very impressive work.
So
truly.
let's look at an example of a country that has worked with its plan and the results. Somewhere in 1988, Gerard Houllier, shared a story with our colleagues who, prior to the 2010 World Cup, some of our colleagues went to France and all those.
Yeah.
things. Shared an interesting story at one of the seminars that in 1988, the French government, together with the FA, decided that they were going to have a 10-year plan that will see France host the World Cup and win.
Yes.
So they set up Clairefontaine,
Yeah.
set it up across,
The whole country.
The whole country. And in Clairefontaine, at age 10, you are already learning how to use your weaker foot.
Yes.
So if you are good with your left foot, at age 10, you are learning how to use your weaker foot, which, assuming for me, my weaker foot is the right. So at age 10, I would have been taught how to be able to use my right foot, and by the time you get to 12, you are good at using both feet. Ambidextrous. Clearly. And that is when players like Henry, all those guys came through. In 1998, they went to win the World Cup. They won the World Cup.
Yeah.
Okay? Then the Germans realized that, look, our football is going down. That was when 2000, Euro 2000, that's when they saw a lot of disgrace.
Yeah, they got embarrassed.
They decided that they will have a 10-year plan. Put in place a very solid plan, looking at both the Spaniard system and then the French system, putting it together, lumping it together. And you have seen the results, right? The English decided that they will combine both the German, the Spaniard, and then the French this thing together. Today, England did not only get to the semi-finals in the
Senior World Cup.
In the Senior World Cup, but they are under 17 champions. They are under 20 World Cup champions. So it is not rocket science. It is not about talking big and putting things on paper. It is about implementing it. So the people who did not only talk, the people who did not only formulate on paper, the people who put it on paper and implemented it, those people, we are seeing results. So we set up a commission of inquiry in 2014. How many years now?
4 years.
So assuming if we have started something, if, for example, we have experimented with Winneba Academy, put it in a proper state, started, grooming players through that particular side. By this time, we would have been able to see what we have done. See, we have sat here and all the coaches, maybe with the exception of Coach Sapon and the others, all the coaches who had something to do with our game, they are all gone.
Yeah.
We could not put anything, any of their beliefs on paper, any of their thinking. Look, if I ask you, Coach Afranis Noboa, where is it? It's not on paper. CK Akono's, CK Jemfi's Half Moon. It's not on paper.
The late Coach Ade's multi-system.
It's not on paper. So
a very impressive situation indeed. But let me also say that this segment is brought to us by Happy FM in collaboration with JACC, Ghana, Accountability and Anti-Corruption Coalition, Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition, empowered by Star Ghana with funding from UKA, Danida, and their partners. Thank you very much, all our partners, for making this happen. We'll continue with some of this segment. As time goes on, we pick some of the Commission's reports and go into details and find out whether indeed we are implementing some of the recommendations in that particular Commission. But we go for a break. We'll be back with more here on the show.